The NHL is back, and we've got 5 future bets lined up for you today. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Just a Bet Outside. My name is Karan Thacker, and it is officially that time of the year. Hockey season is back, and it's going to be an exciting year with lots of big moves this offseason affecting the hockey world. And we will be right here with you throughout the season with game breakdowns. You can expect to see player props, team totals, money lines, puck lines, the whole 9 yards throughout the year. But for today's video, we'll go over just the NHL future props. So before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. We really do appreciate that support from the community as we continue to grow as a channel. Our first future bet is Mitch Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs over 90.5 points for 1 unit, and you can get that at minus 114 on FanDuel. Now, Marner is a player that divides a lot of opinions due to his performances, especially in the playoffs over the last few years, but this bet and all the bets covered in this video are strictly regular season plays. So last year, we look at Mitch's numbers, he had 85 points in just 69 games, and that's probably why we're getting a bit of a lower line here. But in the 2 seasons before that, he had 99 points in 80 games, and he had 97 points in 72 games. So he went over this mark by 6 and 8 points in each season. So just based on production, I expect Mitch to bounce back and get to 91 points or more, as long as he doesn't get injured for a big chunk of the season. In addition to that, the Leafs also lost Tyler Bertuzzi in free agency, and they're kind of expecting to replace that production either through internal players like Nick Robertson, or they got free agent flyers that they brought in like Max Pacioretty and Alex Nylander. So what I do expect though is, although there's a systematic change from Sheldon Keefe to Craig Berube, I expect the big four of the Toronto Maple Leafs to continue to carry that load. William Nylander, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Mitch Marner should be continuing to carry that production for the Leafs in the regular season. What I like the most about this bet, though, is it is a contract year for Mitch Marner. He's looking to absolutely cash in at the end of this year, and just kind of, seeing how Mitch's personality is over the last few years, I fully expect a very, very motivated Mitch Marner to kind of bring those numbers back up after what can be seen as a bit of a down year for him production-wise. So yeah, love this bet. Give me Mitch Marner over 90.5 points for 1 unit at minus 114 on FanDuel. Our second future bet is we're going over to the New Jersey Devils. We got Timo Meier to score 30 regular season goals, and you can get that at minus 125 on FanDuel for 1 unit. Last year, Timo scored 28 goals in 69 games, so he was only 2 goals off of this, which is again probably why we're getting this number at minus 125. He had a shooting percentage of 13.5, so it's nothing too crazy. His career numbers are typically around 10, 11, 12. And we have seen some previous years with him at 13%, so nothing too drastic there. The Devils did give up a lot to get Timo a few years ago, so let's look at his numbers. Before last year, he had 40 goals and 78 games, so he went way over this. And the year before that, he had 35 goals and 77 games, so he's clearing this number pretty easily. Last year he only played 69 games, but in the years that he went over, he played 77 and 78 games. So as long as he stays healthy, fully expect him to put up 35 to 40 goals this year. In addition to that, the Devils also had a pretty down year last year, and they've solidified their team as a whole. Big offseason move to bring in Jacob Markstrom. They brought in Brett Pesce from Carolina as well to the defense, and the biggest one, in my opinion, is they also brought in a new coach, right? Sheldon Keefe completely changes that structure. Whether it's good or bad, we'll see, but it's a completely new system for them to learn, and sometimes players need that as a change of scenery. So most people are expecting the Devils to have a good bounce back year, and I fully expect Timo to be a big part of that. Typically in Sheldon Keefe systems, we have seen that the center and winger combination, they put up big numbers. And I'm fully expecting Timo once again to put up 35 to 40 goals this year, playing on that first line with Jack Hughes and Mercer. So yeah, 1 unit at minus 125 on FanDuel for Timo Meier to score 30 regular season goals for the New Jersey Devils. Our third future bet, we're going to Chicago. We got Connor Bedard over 79.5 points for 1 unit at minus 114 on FanDuel. Guys, last year, Connor Bedard only put up 61 points in 68 games. So he missed 14 games. But if he did stay healthy for the whole year, he was on a 74-point pace. So he only would have been off of this mark by 6 points approximately. Now let's take a look at a trend. Let's look at first overall picks that were drafted as forwards over the last 10 seasons. How was their production in year 1, and how did they do in year 2? So this list is basically Alexis Lafreniere, Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, and Nathan MacKinnon. So Alexis Lafreniere in his first year, he had 0.38 points. In year 2, that slightly went up to 0.39 points. This is points per game. Jack Hughes, year 1, 0.34 points per game. Year 2, 0.55 points per game. He went up a lot by 0.21 points per game from year 1 to year 2. Nico Hischier, year 1, 0.63 points per game. Year 2, 0.68 points per game. Again, he went up by 0.05 points per game, which over a full season does make quite a bit of a difference. Austin Matthews, year 1, 0.84 points per game. Year 2, 1.01 points per game. A huge difference. He went up quite a bit. And then Connor McDavid, year 1, 1.06 points per game. Year 2, 1.22 points per game. Also went up quite a bit. And lastly, Nathan MacKinnon, year 1, 0.77 points per game, and year 2, 0.59 points per game. So of this list of 6 forwards, only Nathan MacKinnon saw a dip from year 1 to year 2. The other 5 guys all saw their production continue to go up in their second year, with 4 of the 6 having pretty substantial jumps, and just Lafreniere kind of having a slight increase, but still an increase. So as a trend, I really like Connor Bedard to just kind of, go up in his points total from year 1 to year 2 in terms of his natural growth as a player. But even outside of that, you look at Chicago's team last year, they had Kurashev, Foligno, and Dickinson who carried the offensive load with Bedard last year. Now that makes me puke because we can see that, at the quality of that Hawks team kind of speaks for itself just based on that list. Some decent players there, but not what you want to see in your top 6 and your top line. So they've kept all those guys, but they've also gone out and added Tyler Bertuzzi, and they've brought back Teuvo Teravainen to that top 6. Taylor Hall should also be healthier for hopefully more time this year, and this is going to help Bedard out big time, guys. With that point production, teams can't just focus in on one player in the top 6. They're going to have to kind of spread out that focus. I can also see Connor Bedard getting a lot more assists, as a playmaker because he has guys who can bury the puck. And some of those other role players like Foligno, Dickinson, Kurashev, they can kind of settle into roles that they feel more naturally comfortable in rather than trying to force themselves as top line players. So yeah, just outside of that natural growth for Connor Bedard, the Hawks they're obviously not a cup contender. They might not even make the playoffs, but I fully expect them to be a lot more competitive this year. And I like this play quite a bit. So give me Connor Bedard over 79.5 points for 1 unit at minus 114 on FanDuel. And the last player prop I like, guys, is Jonas Korpisalo, 125 plus 125 for one unit as the Bruins Game 1 starting goalie. Now, I wouldn't lock this in just yet. Not really considering it an official play for now, but I just wanted to let you guys know that this number is out there for plus money. I want to keep an eye on this as the Bruins come closer to their season opener. It looks like Swayman and the Bruins are still pretty far apart on reaching a contract, but I think the Bruins first game is October 8th, which is still, still quite a ways away. But what I want to do is just kind of keep an eye on this line, keep an eye on the contract talks in parallel, and just kind of see, like, is the line getting way too juiced as we move closer to that season opener for Boston, or can we still get a pretty good number? So keep an eye out on the pinned comments on the Discord, on X, and we will confirm or throw this play away, just based on how the contract negotiations are going. But as of now, it doesn't look like Swayman is going to sign anytime soon. And if we can get a plus number on Jonas to start that first game, he came back in that Linus Ullmark trade with Ottawa, so I think they are kind of expecting to. It might not be as heavy of a 1A 1B, but they definitely feel comfortable with Korpisalo playing in that crease for Boston. So keep an eye on this one. We will confirm whether it's going to get locked in or if we're throwing it in the trash can. Now, moving on to the team props, the next bet that I have here is the New York Rangers regular season points total of over 100.5 for 1 unit at minus 113. The last 3 seasons, guys, the Rangers points total has been 114 last year, 107 in 2022-2023, and 110 in 2021-2022. So they've gone way over this, like 114, 107, and 110 in the last 3 years, and the line is sitting at 100.5. It doesn't make much sense to me. The books might just be saying that, they expect the rest of that division to be a lot better. So, the Devils have gotten a lot better. Washington did make the playoffs last year, although with a really strange negative goal difference. The Islanders are kind of haven't made too many moves. They added Duclair, but that may be the reason why we're getting this number at we're getting at, but doesn't really make much sense to me, guys. The Rangers are a talented team. They haven't lost anyone substantial this offseason. There were a lot of talks about Jacob Trouba. Is he going to get traded? Is he going to stay? But overall, the net negative or net positive, it's more or less the same. They lost, I think, Barclay Goodrow in free agency, but nothing that would scare me away from this points total. So yeah, I'm locking that in for sure. Over 100.5 team total points for 1 unit, the New York Rangers at minus 113 on FanDuel. And the last team prop that I have is for 1 unit, the Vegas Golden Knights under 99.5 points at minus 111 on FanDuel. So basically, this bet is saying that the Knights won't get to 100 points this year. And if we look at their production and the team total last year, Vegas only put up 98 points as a team, and they went under this total as is. So if you're telling me that they only hit 98 points last year, and we look at their offseason move, they've lost Jonathan Marchessault, they lost William Carrier, Michael Amadio, Alex Martinez, Anthony Mantha, and their goaltender, Logan Thompson. They're all gone. So how are they going to put up 2 more points than last year, and they've lost all these players? And Tomas Hertl was already there, right? Like, they brought him in from San Jose during the season. So that's not like a brand new addition. The other thing that I don't like is the fact that they've replaced Logan Thompson with Ilya Samsonov. And apart from that, they only brought in Olofsson and Holtz, who are just, minor depth pieces, like little role players that they brought in maybe to fill out their bottom 6. That's a huge net negative in terms of players outgoing and players incoming. Now, if we look at their depth chart, the Knights are still talented. They have Jack Eichel, they have Tomas Hertl, they have Ivan Barbashev, Mark Stone, William Karlsson, Nick Waugh. But their forward depth, in my opinion, is just totally gutted. Like, can the defense, goaltending, and Bruce Cassidy's system carry this team to a 100-point total? I'm not too sure about that. Like, I'd rather bet against it because a lot of their players are pretty injury prone too, right? Like Stone, Jack Eichel. If you look at their injury history, they're getting injured every year, and they're missing like 20, 30, 40 games every year. On the back end, you have Pietrangelo, you have Theodore, also big risks of getting injured, missing lots of time over the last few years. And in my opinion, one of the biggest underrated issues that Vegas is going to have is, like, Adin Hill has only played 35 and 27 games in his last 2 seasons with Vegas. So Logan Thompson was playing quite a bit there. And if you look at their save percentage, or sorry, if you look at Logan Thompson's save percentage over his last 2 years with Vegas, it was 908 and 915. Like those are solid numbers. They're not obviously incredible in terms of 930, high 920s, which you rarely see now, but 908 and 915 is pretty respectable in this day and age. And now you get Samsonov, who's splitting the load with Aiden Hill. That is suspect, and I'll tell you why. Because Ilya Samsonov posted an 890 save percentage in 40 games last year. 890. The year before that, Ilya Samsonov, he played well. He posted a 919 save percentage in 42 games. However, the year before that, he posted an 896 save percentage in 44 games. So what we see is the last 3 years for Ilya Samsonov, 2 seasons have been sub 900, and one has been pretty solid for 919. So we're going from Logan Thompson, who's been, pretty good, posting plus 900 numbers every year for the last 2-3 years. We're taking that solidified crease and we're adding a risk of Ilya Samsonov, who knows what we're going to get for those 40-50 games when he's splitting time with Aiden Hill. Bruce Cassidy's system could help out Ilya Samsonov, but when you just kind of consider all of these different factors, you kind of consider in the players that have gone out, you consider the risk factor for the players that are still there, and then you consider the goaltending, which might be a little bit more, shoddy. I will take the under on the Vegas Golden Knights, under 99.5 points at minus 111 on FanDuel for 1 unit. And last but not least, not an official bet, but just a Stanley Cup winner prediction. One thing I do love about the NHL is the parity in the league. There's, for sure a tier of contenders, but no one really knows what the hell's going to happen when the playoffs start. So for my Stanley Cup prediction, one team that I do love to get over the hump this year is the Dallas Stars. Guys, the Stars are so stacked. Their 9 best forwards, if you look at their depth chart here, it's Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Wyatt Johnston, Mason Marshman, Matt Duchene, Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, Logan Stankoven, and Evgeny Dadonov. Like, that is a serious forward group. Defensively, they've got Heiskanen, they've got Dumba, Harley, Lyubushkin, Lundell, and in goal, they've got Jake Ottinger, and they also brought in Casey DeSmith just to stack the crease a little bit more. The Dallas Stars team has 0 holes. They have the perfect blend of power, they have good speed, they have elite forwards, they have an elite number 1 D-man, they have elite goaltending who can steal a series. I don't see where this Dallas Stars team lacks. Last year, the Panthers, they led the league with a plus 68 goal difference, and the Stars came in a close second at plus 64. So no official bet from me, because I do feel whenever you try to, put a bet out for, like a Super Bowl winner or a Stanley Cup contender, there's way too much variance involved with this type of bet to even sprinkle. But if I was to play something, it would be a quarter unit on the Stars to win the Cup at plus 1,100. So that's plus 1,100 on FanDuel. And there you have it, guys. That is all of our future bets for the 2024-2025 NHL season. Let us know if you guys plan on tailing, fading, whatever it may be. Drop us your thoughts in the comments and let us know who you got for your future bets, because we do have a lot of sharp people in this community. And the objective here is for all of us to, win units and beat the books. So if you see something of value, don't hesitate to pop it in the comments there. But that'll do it for today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you shortly for the next NHL video with the season right around the corner. Peace.